Hello everybody, welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe. People of Earth, welcome to part 2 of Build Korben Dallas's cab from Fifth Element. Couldn't get it all done in my first video, and I know I had a couple of my subscribers wonder why I didn't post last week. Well, I was traveling, and so difficult for me to do when I've got responsibilities. I've got to sometimes do some traveling, and but I am back now. But this is birthday month for Sprueverse, so that's right. August 25th, big day here at the studio. We celebrate in style. But hopefully we'll be able to get this done in this video. I know we will. This ain't going to part 3, folks, I'll tell you. When last we met, the cab was in front of me, lit, and we talked about some things we had to do. Those things we're going to do today. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to actually drill the bullet holes, and there are several of them that go into the sides of this cab. And they're odd because they're a very uniform kind of, bullet hole, and they clearly didn't penetrate the cab. We are not celebrating the collapsed roof in this particular model. We're only going to do the bullet holes and age it down and get all the decals on. But I think that's a great place to sort of leave this wonderful cab. You certainly could do the crushed roof version, and that would be cool for a couple of reasons. You'd probably see a lot more of the interior of it, but you'd want to probably detail that out a lot more. At least I think I would. Okay, so let me show you. I did a little test drill, and I think I've got the right scale here. Let's take a look. So here we are. Here are my two bullet holes. Now, obviously, my gas cap isn't in yet. I'm going to go ahead and install that now, and then we're going to age that down. But these bullet holes, I think they're a perfect scale, and they're going to just literally pepper the entire sides of the cab on both sides. They don't penetrate the roof, and they don't penetrate. Well, they come onto the hood of the car a little bit, and maybe a little bit of the trunk, but not too much. And we'll do that on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and start drilling. You don't need to see me drill. Well, some of you might, but most of you will say thank you. Thank you for not showing us 20 minutes of you drilling. We appreciate it. You didn't steal 20 minutes of our time. Okay, so that takes care of the gas cap, and the bullet holes are in, and you can see from just this wide shot that I didn't put too many in, but I put enough, so it's definitely going to pop. I've got to get this weathered and aged. I've got to get a matte finish on this as well after I've decaled it, so it's all looking a little too toy-like at the moment, but sort of very important that I just kind of memorialize the stages. So that's a good thing. This PLA, when you have to try to get your drill on the slowest speed possible, otherwise you start melting this plastic. But regardless of that, you're always going to have a little bit of cleanup to do, and that's all part of it. Okay, so those are done and in. I'm going to go ahead and just clean these up because I have a little bit of melt from my drilling, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to seal her up because now that my bullet holes are in, I've got nothing else to sort of do that's going to put any undue pressure on it. I didn't want to have this nailed down and then start drilling on it. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. So the only thing I'm going to do quickly is I'm just going to go ahead and I'll test this before I seal this down. So what I'm gonna do now is just do a dress rehearsal here and get this puppy sealed up, and then we'll start working on decals, because we have to put our decals down. We have to put our decals down before we can start our aging and weathering. That's the process. I didn't make the rules. I just follow them because they make sense. So as I was trimming my decals and getting them ready for install, I wanted to take another sort of look at some of the production stills that I could find and various production shots, just to see what in fact was available. And of course, sure enough, as it's always the case, the miniatures don't match the physical car, and things are changing and swapping and in and out. But they also, interestingly enough, I did find the actual filming miniature that was sold at auction quite a few years ago. It sold for quite a bit of money, and I noticed one very interesting thing. One side of the cab, take a look at this. It's really interesting. So one side of the cab looks like this, with all these various different bullet holes that it has. And here is the opposite side. Take a look at this. Now, obviously, it doesn't have half the amount of bullet holes that the other side did. So clearly, they obviously only filmed it from one side for this particular, or they had it for one side was for the beginning of the attack, and the other side was for later on in the attack, and that sort of kind of is normal. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to not do anything canon. I'm going to give it the visual interpretation of the cab that I think it should have, and we're gonna leave it at that. It's going to get aging. But I wanted to give it some damage. I started to work here, as you can see, on sort of getting the paint to look like it's wearing off, and I'm going to do a lot more with that. I'm going to sand some more of it down, chip away at it. But I wanted to share because I thought that was interesting. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start installing decals. So I'm coloring the inside of the drilled out hole, and then I'm just going in here, as you can see, And I'm having a lot of fun just sort of creating the splat, and that's just to carefully just get all the way around, and you get this wonderful splatting effect. And over here where I've tried to sort of dirty it down, I'm going to do a little more aging and get this all a little more scruffy, but you can see that it makes the splats quite beautifully. So very happy with that effect. I'm going to continue on with my splats. So then after I've done splats, we're going to start doing some I guess I would call it an exhaust soot pass. You know, as it's streaming through the city, it's getting this sort of whoosh effect, this sort of darkness, and there's some panel lining as well on the actual production miniature, which we're going to put on. I think it was more for the camera really than anything else, but sure, a lot of fun to do. Well, I think it's been sufficiently whacked with. I'm using an all-clad black primer. It's nice and thin, and I can get it on really nicely, and I can play with it in terms of it, you know, the filth level that I want. Now I can go ahead and I can do a little bit of a wash, and then obviously the whole thing needs to be cooled down with a nice matte coat to finish it. But yeah, I don't think I want to do too much more. I mean, you can go a little crazy with this, but you know, it depends on at what moment you're actually seeing Korben's cab. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I wanted to just sort of leave it in a moment in time, as opposed to overly dirtied up, smashed in, or whatever. There's so much you could do with this, though, guys. If you wanted to bust in the roof, you certainly could. One of the ways I could have done it, and you can do it, is get yourself some metal tape, cut your hole out into the of the PLA, so you've got your hole nice and jagged, and then just come along with your metal tape and attach that, and then you can cut that and trim it and it'll look like the roof has collapsed. It'll work really well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a final sort of dirt pass on this. And then I think we'll be ready for a matte coat and some beauty shots. What do you think? Well, Fifth Element was a film that came out in '97. Luc Besson directed. Jean-Paul Gaultier was the costume designer, which I thought was absolutely made perfect sense, I suppose, for his sensibilities, and of course starring the incredible Bruce Willis. Interestingly enough, here's a useless piece of information. One of the shooting miniatures actually sold in 2019 for £30,000, British pounds. That's about 40,000 US dollars. And I don't know. I don't know exactly what shape it was in, but it sold at auction, which I thought was really interesting. And it would have been about the same scale as this. If you wanted to go ahead and build this print is available on Etsy. You can just you'll find it under Fifth Element Korben Dallas cab, or Korben's cab from Fifth Element. You'll find it there, and of course 3D files are also available for a slightly different version from Chris over at goldenarmor.com. Just go over to the website and click on 3D files. He also has a printing service as well. You can get lighting kits from Voodoo Effects. That's Randy Newbert's company. He is available. I'll put all of this in the description below so that you don't have to take notes. But yeah, and a big shout out to the great Randy Cooper for all of his incredible work. He's obviously completely outdone himself again and detailed the interior of this to the specs of the film, because he's a professional and that's what he does. But very kind for him to give me his input, and I greatly appreciate him as always. You could build this with the smashed-in roof if you wanted to. What you would do is obviously you would break this out. This would be crushed in. You could still leave this lit. It could just be dangling on the wire, and that on a wire, and that would be perfectly fine. You'd use probably use, in that case, you'd use a 3mm LED bulb, and you would be fine. You could also play with some of the sort of crushed in with some metal tape, as I mentioned earlier, and you'll get a really nice effect. Not a difficult build. The big trouble you'll have is if you go for a PLA print of this, because to print this up at this scale would require a 15-inch build plate if you were going to do it in resin. If you're going to do it in PLA filament, my Cheedy 4 Plus Studio prints it fine, but you then have to do a little bit of work. If you can, if you can and you've got the patience, you can actually remove 90, I would say 90%. It could be 98, like I got it down to 98. No, I'm saying 90% of it. A good couple of coats of Dupelo's excellent primer filler, and then several coats of your yellow of choice. And you can get rid of a lot of the lines, but you won't get rid of all of them. If you look here on the close-up camera, I think you'll see that a lot of the print lines have disappeared. You see a little bit on the door crease. You'll see just a little bit there, but for the most part, I think pretty good. And I'm really happy with the details. I mean, I think I've captured those quite nicely, and of course the decal set went on quite well. And you do get some graphics if you go to Golden Armor and you pick up his files. You will also get the graphics package, which will allow you to print your own decals as well. So there you have it, the Korben Dallas cab from Fifth Element. Yeah, it took a couple of sessions for me to get this right, but also because I've been traveling, so it's been a bit of a hectic time for me. So please forgive the tardiness on my my build updates, but there you go. Hey, if you want to get a hold of me, as always, I'm spruverse@gmail.com. As you know, I post most of my in the weeds, what's going on the bench photos on my Instagram account. That's at Spruverse. You can buy me a cup of coffee for my charitable bills. You can also pick up my merch. There's a link to the World of Wayne's merch site where all of my merch is, Lou's merch is, and 100% of those proceeds go to charity. So go pick up yourself a shirt. You'll be glad you did. But as always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a subscriber. I wish you well. Be safe. Build something. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Be well.